All right, let's go to the international panel right now. Sky News contributor Kosha Gada, former Labor MP Michael Danby. Well, welcome to you both. Kosha, I wanted to make this point because I was flicking around all the US channels I like to watch on a weekend. Yes, I have no life, but anyway, there we go. And I was struck looking at this old vision of Joe Biden. Now, when I say old, I'm not going back to when he got into the Senate. I'm talking about when he was the vice president to Obama. And then you interplay that with what we're seeing now. I mean, these terrible appearances in his press conference and that special counsel report, the judge basically saying he's just a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory in such a bad way, basically, that we can't take him to task over taking classified documents out of the White House. Here's just a couple of examples.
There's some movement. There's been a response from there's been a response from the opposition. If it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Now, this isn't even 10 years ago. This is when he was vice president addressing the 2016 Democratic National Convention. Have a listen.
We cannot elect a man who belittles our closest allies while embracing dictators like Vladimir Putin.
Now, I watched a longer form of that, but I mean, you get my point, Kosha. He has clearly declined.
He has, Peta. It's great to be with you. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. You know, it's sad on a human level when we see this. Everybody who's had aging parents or grandparents, you can see that the decline is not linear, it's exponential. And, you know, the decline that can happen in a year can be much more than what happened 5 years prior. And your juxtaposition there just shows that in a pretty searing and undeniable way. I think, you know, what you're seeing with the special counsel report that came out, such kind of video evidence that is out there and mounting, is it's becoming impossible to ignore. The whole world can see it with this evidence. And yet here we are where he is the presumptive nominee unless something changes or happens between now and election day. And it's a little bit of a head scratcher, I think, for many in the world following the US election.
And Michael, you've been in politics for years and years. You know, and I know, that over in China, there are people educated in US universities that can read everything that's going on in the US political scene. They parlay that back into the Politburo. There's people in Iran doing the same thing. There's people in Moscow doing the same thing. I mean, they are reading the tea leaves. They're all interpreting what they're looking at. I mean, they can see that America has never been more vulnerable.
For the sake of the United States, President Biden ought to announce that he will resign at the election, not beforehand, because we don't want Kamala Harris, who's not capable, and it's just an example of identity politics going in. But there is hope, Peter. There is people in the United States who are strong for the free world. McConnell's just passed the Ukraine, Taiwan, Israel bill with the Senate Democrats. And the fate of all of the countries that rely on the United States, Ukraine, Taiwan, Israel, hangs on whether the squad will vote with the mega Republicans in the House. So there's hope. That's all I'm saying.
Kamala Harris, Kosha, told the Wall Street Journal last week, though, that she is, quote, ready to serve. I mean, is she shaking her tail feather in hope there? Or, I mean, or is this a serious play?
I read that as a shot across the bow. I really do. And, you know, this is part of the conundrum that they're in, with Biden still being the front runner. And then the number two is somebody who's not reliable, which makes it very, very difficult for him to step aside before the election, as Michael said. I think she's, you know, signaling there that, hey, don't just assume that you can step past me and sidestep me, because especially for the Democrats, Black America is a very, very key part of their electorate coalition strategy. And if they supersede her or sidestep her with somebody else like Gavin Newsom from California, there could be backlash for that very important segment of the electorate. So I think she's actually making her claim in that way, and it'll be very interesting to see how all this pans out.